this video is the conclusion to the installation of my Pypes Race Pro exhaust. It's been a long, dragged out process because of my need for everything being just perfect. And finally, I'm at the last stage, which is the tips. Now, I got the tips. They finally came in. I'm going to show you what I purchased. So, here's the tips right here. They're a little dirty because I've been handling them because I started, part of the installation. But it's stainless steel and it's polished. And I got two of them, and the exit is 3.5 inch. So it's a 2.5 to 3.5. And these are weld-on tips, so I will be welding them on. I will try to make the welds nice and pretty. So, without further ado, let's go check out the progress. So here are my exhaust tailpipes that came with the Pypes Race Pro kit. And you can see my band clamps. So when I remove them, I just basically loosen up those two bolts there, loosen up the hanger, which is this right here. And now you get to see the modification I did to the hanger. So you can see I took another piece of steel, the same thickness as the original hanger piece of steel, and I welded that sucker on because I needed the holes. See, the holes, they're actually spaced 2 inches apart. So there's 4 holes originally. So what I had to do was take the top hole and move it over so that I can move this whole thing over 2 inches. So I had to put this plate on to be able to make another hole. And you can see how it attaches onto the car. It's an angled attachment, but this ends up being perfectly straight. And then the hanger portion that's part of the exhaust pipe gets inserted in here, and that's how it gets hung. So you can see my handiwork there. And I painted it all black to give it that nice corrosion protection because this is steel and I don't want to get any rust. So I removed that, and I've already started doing the process as far as cutting. You can see here there's a mark here, and then there's a cut. And so basically the tip will be inserted and it'll be riding against that mark, and that's where I plan to do the tack welds. But when I was doing this install, because the tips, I'll show you right now, because they were like this, you can see here, that's pretty much how it was. Because it was like that, I can't actually put the tip on because there's a curve here. So initially when I was doing the measurements, I made a mock-up measurement so I can get this part off. And then once that long piece is off, I can insert the tip. And then I made the second measurement, which is right here. And then 3/4 inches from that measurement is where I cut. So total, I cut this off of the exhaust tip. So let's see if I can show you what the tip is going to look like when it's installed. Let's get this out of here. So basically, it'll be, inserted in here. See if I can do it. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. Yeah, like that. So that's pretty much how the tip is going to be. So that's going to look really nice. Now, to remove this, let's just show you. You've seen it in the last video, so I'm just going to show it to you right now. Basically, that's where I do the removal of the band clamp, and then that's where I do the removal for the hanger. So I got to put these pipes back on so that I can get the tailpipe tacked on, and we'll see how it looks when it's all done. Okay, so one of my tips is complete, and I got some nice welds that I'm going to be grinding down. I think they look okay for the most part. And so I'm getting ready to do the other one. And so I learned with the first one, because I don't want to ruin my pipes, I forgot that I had this, preventing buildup of weld splatter. and basically it's some kind of gel you put on the part, and you just pretty much put it on liberally. And so in this case, I want to make sure that I don't get any weld splatter on my shiny stainless steel. So all you gotta do is just put it on there, you know, give it a nice rub down, and then you just wash it off at the end. And so now I'm gonna do my nice welds, and these welds are coming out better because I decided to do something a little bit different. On my settings for my welding, I decided to put the heat setting all the way to max, and then the wire speed I just left it at what I usually leave it at. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to make sure that I get maximum penetration. And by that I mean that when I do the weld, I want it to penetrate between the two metals and at the same time level out as level as I can, because as you can see from this here, and you'll notice it when I put it back on the car, this portion here up to right around here shows. So I want to make sure that I do this really nice so that I can grind it down, and then I'm going to attempt to polish this out to try to make it look as shiny as this. So that's going to be a task to try to do. So I'm getting ready to weld this, and I'll give you a couple action shots. So let me set up the camera and we'll get started. So here we are. I turned off the lights because I found that I can weld a little bit better if it's dark, so that I'm only concentrating on the weld, the light of the weld, because of the mask is so dark that I have. So I'm going to start welding now, and I do have a light to guide me, because when I'm not welding, the mask is really dark. So I shine a little light to at least let me see where I'm going to be starting my weld, and then of course when I start the weld I'll be able to see clearly. So let's give you a couple action shots. So there you go. That's basically what I'm doing. See if I can zoom in. You can see how flat those welds are. So basically the rule that I'm using is a 2-second rule, and I'm making sure that the metal gets really hot so that the molten metal that's coming out of the nozzle, the welding nozzle, can flatten out. So I'm going to continue here. So see if I can set this up here and continue on my welding path. There it is. So hopefully you got to see those welds. So now I'm just going to continue, and we'll take a look at it after it's done. You can see my handiwork. So it went from this stainless steel to this. So I really like how that came out. So that's gonna look really sweet in the car, because this is the part that shows, and then of course the quarter panel is right around here. So this part shows, and that will look really nice in the car because it looks like it's all polished stainless steel. So I gotta do that to the other one, which is there, and it's a lot of work. Just so that you guys know what I did. First I did it with 80 grit with a mouse sander, and after I got it all smooth with the 80 grit, I did 320 grit by hand, dry, and after I was satisfied with the 320 grit, I went with 600 dry, and then 800 dry, and then I went straight to the buffing wheel, and that's how I got the shine. You can see how clear that shine is. So I'm really happy with the results. Well, here they are. Both tips are polished. So you see here, you can see they match. Let's go over to the other one. They match. So now I get to install them on the car. I really like how they look. Now it looks much more fitting. It was a lot of work, but definitely worth it. My little grinder is super hot because I was using a lot of pressure to get it to polish out that nice. Came out really, really nice. I'm happy with the results. So let's go ahead and put it on the car and see how they look. Okay, so my tips are finally installed. They're kind of hard to see, but you can see them there. And I'll show you the details. So I wanted the tips, like I said in a previous video, at least about a ½ inch away from the edge. So you can see that, how far it is from the edge. And I did that with both of them. Completely symmetrical. The spacing between the bumper and the top of the tip is about ½ inch. As you can see there, completely symmetrical. The tip itself runs in line with the quarter panel, so you can see the spacing there. I did that with both of them. So it's completely symmetrical. When you look at the side of the car, which is what my vision was when choosing these tips, you can see it's polished all the way across. That is beautiful. That's why I only wanted to polish up as much as possible. You see, the rest of the pipe is not polished. But when you're looking at the car, of course, no one's going to really see this because there's going to be a big old tire here. But when you're looking at it, you can see that beautiful tip. And you see how long it is. So I wanted to make sure I had a nice, shiny, long tip. Let's go over to the other side. I got a big mess I need to clean up. Oh, okay. And there's the other side. And you can see a nice, long, chrome looking, was actually polished stainless steel tip. And again, you can see it's not polished all the way, but just enough so that whatever's peeking out looks all polished. I didn't want this portion here to look all funky next to this. So you can see that's the look I was going for. Now stock would have been, the tailpipe would have stopped right around here. It would have been cut like right there. And that would have been the stock pipe. But I want to continue it all the way to the tail, to the rear bumper. And so with it looking nice and shiny, the side profile is going to look awesome. Okay, the car is all put together, tires are on, car is on the ground, and now the moment of truth. Get ready for the startup. This is going to be a first time for me and for everyone. So let's see how she sounds. I'm actually very pleased. It sounds really nice. It's not loud at all. It has a slight rumble. Let me give it a couple revs. Let me put you on the tripod again. I really like how it sounds. Sounds great. Sounds nice and quiet. I'm actually very pleased. I'm actually surprised. Very surprised. See what it sounds like on the inside of the car. So there it is. The startup, it was nice and quiet like I wanted it, and it still has that rumble. So of course when I'm outside in the road and actually start really driving it, I'll really get the feel for it. But as it looks like right now, it's really quiet and I'm very pleased. So hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching.